Welcome back, my friend. Tonight, we return to London in 1660 as the monarchy is restored and the city begins to breathe again. Yet beneath the renewed music, crowded markets, and cautious hope, an unseen danger is approaching. Soon, the streets will fall silent under the shadow of the Great Plague. Settle in, breathe slowly, and let history carry you towards sleep. Subscribe to Deep Sleep Storytelling for more peaceful journeys through history, science, and the mysteries of the sea.
The Return of the King, the Return of Breath. Settle a little deeper now, my friend. Let your breathing slow until it no longer feels like effort. Let the quiet of the night gather gently around you, as though the room itself has decided to rest. Tonight, London exhales. The year is 1660. After years of restraint, absence, and careful silence, something familiar returns to the city. Not with force, not with command, but with recognition. The monarchy is restored. Charles II returns to England, and London receives him the way an old city receives change. With memory, with caution, with a quiet awareness that nothing ever truly goes back to how it was before. A city that does not rush. London does not erupt into celebration. There are bells, yes. There are crowds. There are flags raised where none have hung for many years. But the sound is different now. This is not the roar of unquestioning loyalty. It is the murmur of curiosity, relief, and measured hope. People gather along the streets, but they watch more than they cheer. They observe the return of ceremony with the eyes of those who have learned that power can disappear, that authority can fall silent, that crowns can vanish. London has aged. It has survived rule without a king. It has learned how to govern itself. It does not forget this knowledge easily. Ceremony relearned. Royal processions move through streets that remember older ones. Stone buildings stand unchanged, watching as they have always watched. Windows open cautiously. Children are lifted onto shoulders to see color and motion they have never known. For many, this is the first time they have seen ceremony at all. The rituals return slowly. The clothing, the symbols, the sounds of authority spoken aloud again. But ceremony no longer feels absolute. It feels negotiated. London allows itself to remember how monarchy looks, while quietly reminding itself that it knows how to live without it. A king who understands the city. Charles II enters London as a different kind of king. The city senses this immediately. He does not carry the rigid distance of his father. He listens. He smiles. He understands that authority now requires awareness. London does not need to be conquered. It needs to be reassured. The city recognizes this instinct and responds carefully. There is no blind devotion, but there is acceptance. London respects adaptation. It respects those who understand survival. Life begins to loosen. Slowly, daily life begins to relax. Taverns grow louder. Conversation stretches later into the night. Music returns to places where silence once ruled. Public entertainment reappears. Theaters reopen their doors. Plays draw crowds hungry for stories shaped by imagination rather than discipline. Laughter feels unfamiliar at first, then comforting. London rediscovers pleasure cautiously. Joy is welcomed, but it is held gently as one holds something fragile. The streets fill with motion. Markets grow busy again. Merchants speak with renewed confidence. Goods arrive more freely along the Thames. Coins move steadily from hand to hand. Carts rattle over familiar stones. Voices overlap in the streets. Footsteps multiply. London feels alive again, but it does not forget the stillness it once knew. Movement returns alongside memory. Faith softens. Churches shift tone once more. Services grow warmer, music returns carefully. Decoration reappears, measured and restrained. The severe austerity of the Commonwealth loosens its grip. Faith becomes shared again, not enforced, comforting rather than controlling. London does not swing wildly between extremes. It adjusts. It always adjusts. A city carrying fatigue. Yet beneath this revival lies exhaustion. London carries the weight of decades. It remembers plague. It remembers war. It remembers silence. The city does not know what is coming next, but it knows enough to remain cautious. So London enjoys relief without indulgence. It's like someone who has learned not to drink too deeply from calm. The river breathes with the city. Walk with me to the Thames. The river is busy again. Boats cluster near docks. Supplies flow steadily. Lanterns flicker on the water's surface. The Thames has always been London's pulse. Tonight, it beats stronger. The city draws comfort from this rhythm. Trade continues, life continues, London continues. A balance that feels temporary. For a brief moment, London senses balance. Not peace, not safety. Balance, a king restored. Markets active. Voices returned. But history rarely allows stillness. Balance is often the breath before something breaks. London does not say this aloud, it feels it. The city rests. As night falls, homes grow quiet, candles burn low, doors close. Families settle into familiar routines. London sleeps. It does not yet know that within a few years, its streets will empty again. That disease will silence neighborhoods. That fire will erase entire districts in days. For now, the city rests. And rest is enough. Hold this image gently. A city breathing again after long restraint. Streets filled with cautious sound. Ceremony returned without certainty. a river flowing with renewed purpose. London stands at the edge of rebirth, unaware of what waits ahead. Breathe slowly now. Let the city soften into sleep. When the streets fall silent, settle gently again, my friend. Let your breathing find its own quiet rhythm. Tonight, London moves from relief into something heavier, something slower, something that steals sound before it steals life. The year drifts toward 1665. At first, nothing feels unusual. The city is busy again. Markets hum. The river carries goods and voices. Laughter has returned, cautious but real. Then small changes begin, so small that many do not notice them at all. Whispers before words. It starts with whispers. A house closed unexpectedly. A shop that does not open at dawn. A family that keeps its door shut a little longer than usual. People speak quietly of sickness, not fear, just mention. London has known illness before. It has lived with it. It has survived it, so the city does not panic, not yet. The marks appear. Soon the signs become harder to ignore. Red crosses appear on doors. Small at first, painted carefully. A note pinned beside them asks for prayers. The words feel distant, almost ceremonial. London has seen these marks before, in older stories, in older memories. But memories feel less dangerous than reality. People walk past the doors without stopping. They lower their eyes. They quicken their steps. The city learns to look away. The sound of the bell, then the bells begin. Not church bells for celebration, not bells for time. The slow bell, it rings for the dead. At first it rings occasionally, then more often, then so frequently that it becomes part of the city's breathing. London listens and continues, because listening is all it can do. The streets begin to thin. Gradually, the streets change. Crowds grow smaller, footsteps become spaced, voices lower. Some leave the city if they can. Those with country homes, those with relatives beyond the walls. Carts roll out loaded with belongings and uncertainty. Those who remain watch them go in silence. London does not judge. Not everyone has a choice. Shops close one by one. Shops begin to close, not all at once, one by one. A baker shutters his windows. A tailor leaves unfinished work behind. An alehouse locks its door without explanation. The markets grow quieter. Stalls stand empty where voices once called out prices. The city feels hollowed, not destroyed, emptied. Quarantine becomes routine. Officials move through streets with lists and instructions. Houses are sealed. Families remain inside. Food is left at doors. Money exchanged at a distance. The city learns new rules quickly. London has always adapted to necessity. Now it adapts again. The weight of isolation. Inside homes, time stretches, days blur together. Windows become boundaries. Silence fills rooms once shaped by conversation. Families sit together without speaking much. Each cough is noticed, each sigh measured. London learns that fear does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers. The plague doctors pass. Figures move through the streets in strange clothing, long coats, masks shaped like beaks, gloves held tightly. Children stare from windows. Adults turn away. These figures feel unreal, like something from a dream that should not exist in daylight. London absorbs the sight without comment. There is no room left for surprise. The river falls, quiet. The Thames slows. Boats still move, but less often. Docks grow quiet. Voices no longer echo across the water. The river has always been London's pulse. Now the pulse weakens. The city feels it deeply. Faith in isolation. Churches close their doors. Prayers move indoors. Faith becomes private. Some pray aloud, some pray silently. Some stop praying altogether. London does not measure belief. It measures endurance. Children without streets. Children no longer play outside. Their games shrink to rooms and stairways. Their laughter becomes rare. Parents watch them closely, protectively. The city feels the absence of young voices more than anything else. Death without ceremony. Funerals change. No gatherings, no processions. Bodies are moved quietly, buried quickly. London grieves without ritual. Loss becomes personal, silent, heavy. The city learns stillness. By summer, London has learned a new skill: stillness. It does not fight it. It does not resist it. The city becomes patient in ways it never wanted to be. The night grows deeper. At night, the city feels empty. Candles burn behind shutters. Footsteps echo and then disappear. London listens to itself breathe. Slowly, carefully. Hold this image softly. A city hushed, doors marked, streets thinned, a river quiet. London is not gone. It is waiting. Breathe slowly now. Let the silence settle. Inside the long summer. Rest a little deeper now, my friend. Let your breathing soften. Let the stillness settle into your chest, slow and steady. Tonight we remain with London as the season stretches on and the quiet becomes heavy with heat. It is the summer of 1665. The days are long, the sun rises early and lingers late. Light drifts across rooftops and chimneys, across narrow lanes and shuttered windows, across a river that still moves, but moves with less confidence than before. London is still here, but it feels distant from itself. as if the city has stepped slightly away from its own body. Heat without comfort. In other summers, warmth would bring crowds to the streets. It would bring voices to the markets, people lingering along the river, children running until their faces turned pink with sun. This summer is different. Warmth presses down on narrow streets and closed rooms. The air feels thick. It does not flow easily through the city's tight spaces. Windows stay shut more often. Shutters remain drawn. Doors open only briefly, cautiously, as if even a breath of outside air might carry something unseen. Inside houses, the heat gathers. It settles into the wood of staircases, into the fabric of curtains, into the quiet corners of rooms. People sit still because movement creates sweat, and sweat creates weakness, and weakness feels dangerous now. London has never known a summer like this. Not because the sun is brighter than usual, but because the city cannot live in the open. Houses become worlds. Homes turn inward. A single house becomes an entire world. A staircase becomes a border. A landing becomes a meeting place where people speak softly, careful not to wake anyone resting behind a door. Families move quietly around one another. They learn the sound of each other's footsteps. They learn which boards creak and which do not. They learn when to speak and when to save words. Time changes shape. Morning feels long. Afternoon feels longer. Evening arrives like a slow curtain falling. Not dramatic, just inevitable. Londoners become experts at waiting. They wait for news. They wait for deliveries. They wait for signs in their own bodies, listening too closely to every small discomfort. The city learns that confinement reshapes time itself. Watchers in the street. Outside, the streets have new figures. Watchers pass slowly. Men appointed to guard sealed houses, to enforce rules that feel harsh but necessary. They walk measured paths, pausing near doors marked with warning. Their presence is not violent, it is heavy. They are reminders that London has changed its own habits, that it has written new rules into its stone and timber. Sometimes a watcher stands still for a moment, listening, not out of curiosity, but out of duty. Then he moves on. Even the way people walk has changed. Less wandering, less lingering, more direct paths from one safe point to another. London becomes a city that moves like someone trying not to wake a sleeping house. Food without appetite. Meals lose their old meaning. Food is eaten because it must be, not because it is wanted. Bread tastes the same every day. Soup is thin, stretched to last. Water is measured carefully, not only because it matters, but because everything feels like it should be conserved. Some households still manage small comforts. A bit of cheese, a handful of herbs, a piece of fruit when it can be found. But pleasure is not the purpose. London does not starve, yet appetite becomes quiet. People eat, then sit, then wait. The body continues because it must. The heart continues because it has no other choice. The sound of absence. One of the strangest changes is sound. London has always been loud. Carts, shouts, footsteps, calls across alleys, laughter from taverns, the constant noise of life. Now absence becomes the loudest sound of all. A single footstep echoes too far. A door closing feels final. A cart passing feels unusual enough that people look up from behind curtains. In some streets you can hear the wind. That is a rare sound in London. The city listens to what is no longer there, and in that listening, it feels its own emptiness. Messages through windows. Communication becomes distant. Words are passed through windows. Notes are left on doorsteps. Money is exchanged without touch. Neighbors recognize one another by voice rather than face. Some speak from behind half-open doors, never stepping across the threshold. Others wave from upstairs windows, hands raised like small signals of survival. Even greetings become careful. People say less, but what they say matters more. London learns connection without closeness. It is not natural, but it is necessary. The bells continue. The bells do not stop. At first, they were occasional. Now they become rhythm. London counts time by sound. Morning bells, afternoon bells, evening bells, each one carries weight. Not always fear, sometimes simply recognition. A reminder that the city is still awake, still counting, still enduring day by day. Even those who try not to listen cannot entirely escape the sound. It slips through walls. It settles into the mind. The work of care. Those who care for the sick move quietly through the city. Some are professionals. Some are servants. Some are neighbors who cannot bear to do nothing. They enter houses. They exit houses. Sometimes they return the next day. Sometimes they do not. London does not praise them loudly. Heroism feels too loud for this season, but the city notices. In a time when so much pulls people apart, care becomes one of the few forces that still reaches across distance. A bowl of broth left at a doorstep. Clean cloth delivered without conversation. A message carried to relatives. Small actions repeated become a kind of rope holding the city together. Children learn stillness. Children adapt in ways adults cannot. They learn to sit quietly. They invent games that require little movement. They trace patterns in dust. They whisper stories. They listen to the city as if it is a living creature. Their world shrinks, but their awareness grows. Parents watch them closely, protectively, and London feels the absence of street laughter more than almost anything else because children's voices are how a city remembers its own future. Nights grow heavier. At night, the city feels different again. The heat does not release its grip easily. Rooms stay warm, air remains thick, candles burn low to save wax, shadows become larger. People wake more often. They listen for sounds that might not come. They listen for a cough in the next room. They listen for footsteps outside, wondering if they bring news. Dreams grow strange. Not nightmares necessarily. Just dreams weighted with repetition. London learns that night can feel longer than day when uncertainty stretches time. The river barely breathes. The Thames continues to move, but differently. Boats travel less often. Docks grow quiet. The usual chorus of loading and shouting fades. Water laps softly against wood. Oars dip occasionally, not constantly. The river has always carried London forward. Now it feels like the river is holding its breath with the city, waiting to see what comes next. People still walk near the banks when they can. They stand at a distance and watch the water move, because water moving reminds them that the world has not stopped completely. Faith without gathering. Faith becomes solitary. Church doors close more often. Services shrink. Prayers move indoors. Some pray aloud, a soft voice in a quiet room. Some pray silently, not even sure what they are asking for. Some stop praying, too tired to form words. London makes room for all of this. The city does not measure belief, it measures endurance. And endurance comes in many forms. Loss becomes familiar. As the summer continues, grief becomes common. Not shocking, not rare, familiar. People stop naming every loss publicly. There are too many. Grief turns inward. It becomes private. A chair that remains empty. A cup not used. A voice missing from a room. London begins to carry sorrow the way it carries stone, quietly, without collapse. The city endures the long summer. And still London does not fall. It contracts. It becomes smaller, quieter, more inward. But it remains. Endurance replaces hope. Patience replaces planning. The city learns to live in a narrow present, one day at a time, one breath at a time. In this long summer, London survives not through strength, but through stillness. Hold this image softly now. A city sealed behind doors, warm air trapped in still rooms, bells counting days, children quiet at windows, a river barely moving. London survives the long summer by learning how to be quiet without disappearing. Breathe slowly now. Let the heat fade. Let the stillness remain. When the season begins to turn, rest a little deeper now, my friend. Let your body sink comfortably where it lies. Tonight, London remains very quiet, but something subtle begins to shift beneath that quiet. The long summer of 1665 does not end suddenly. It loosens its grip slowly, almost reluctantly. The heat softens. The air begins to move again. And with that movement, the city senses change. a different kind of morning. Mornings arrive cooler now. Not cold, just gentler. Windows open a little wider. Shutters lift for longer moments. Fresh air enters rooms that have held too much warmth for too long. London notices this immediately. The city breathes more easily when the air moves. People stand by open windows longer than necessary, letting the breeze touch their faces, as if reminding themselves that the outside world still exists. The bells change their rhythm. The bells still ring, but not quite as often. At first, no one trusts the silence between them. People wait for the next sound, expecting it to arrive at any moment. Sometimes it does, sometimes it does not. London listens carefully. The absence of sound begins to feel different. Not empty, tentative. Streets slowly remember themselves. A few more footsteps appear each day. Not crowds, just individuals. Someone walks to the end of the street and back. Someone pauses outside a closed shop, touching the door gently before moving on. Someone stands longer than usual at a corner, as if unsure whether it is allowed to linger. The city does not rush this return. London has learned patience deeply. Doors reopen carefully. Some doors lose their marks, not all, not quickly. But here and there, a door opens again. Families step outside cautiously. They look left. They look right. Neighbors acknowledge one another with nods rather than words. No one embraces. No one gathers. Survival has taught restraint too well. Markets reappear as shapes. Markets return as outlines before they return as places. A single stall opens, then another. Goods are laid out neatly but modestly. Voices remain low. Transactions are quick. London does not celebrate commerce yet. It tests it. The work of cleaning begins. Quiet labor spreads through the city. Rooms are scrubbed. Cloth is washed. Streets are swept more thoroughly than before. London has always believed in work as a form of healing. Cleaning becomes a ritual, a way of telling the city that life may return, but carefully. The weight of loss remains. Even as signs improve, loss remains close. Empty houses still stand. Shuttered windows still face the street. Rooms still hold memories that cannot be cleared away. London does not forget its dead quickly. Grief lingers in familiar places. At tables where chairs remain empty, at doorways that open to silence. The city learns to carry sorrow alongside hope. Children step outside again. Children are among the first to test the change. They step outside hesitantly. They stand close to doorways. They glance back often. Their games are quieter now. Shorter, but their presence changes the sound of the city. London notices this deeply. The return of children feels like permission to breathe. The river stirs once more. Along the Thames, movement increases. A few more boats appear. Oars dip more frequently. Dock workers return in small numbers. The river resumes its role gently, not rushing, not demanding, just moving. London draws comfort from this familiar motion. Faith returns to shared space. Church doors open more often. Services remain simple. Congregations are small. People sit spaced apart, hands folded, eyes lowered. Faith feels quieter now, less declarative, more inward. London's faith has been shaped by survival. It no longer needs spectacle. The city does not celebrate yet. There are no announcements, no declarations of safety. London remembers too well how quickly certainty can vanish. So it waits. It watches. It allows small signs to appear without naming them hope. Autumn approaches. The light changes, days shorten slightly. Evenings cool faster. Leaves begin to turn at the edges of the city. London senses the season shifting, and with it, the weight that has pressed down for so long begins to lift. Not completely, but enough to notice. The city learns to walk again. London does not run back to life. It walks slowly, carefully, each step measured. The city understands that survival does not erase memory. It builds on it. Hold this image gently. A city opening its windows. Streets remembering footsteps. Markets returning as whispers. A river moving with renewed purpose. London is not healed, but it is turning. Breathe slowly now. Let the cool air settle. Let the city rest. A city that remembers. Rest a little deeper now, my friend. Let your breath move slowly in and out. Tonight, London continues forward, not with excitement, not with relief, but with memory. The plague has loosened its grip, not vanished, not forgotten, but receded, like a tide pulling back from streets it once claimed. The city stands again in open air, yet it does not feel new, it feels changed. Streets that know loss. London's streets open wider now. People walk them more often. Footsteps return. Voices rise slightly above whispers. But the streets remember. They remember doors that never opened again. They remember carts that came at night. They remember silence. Even as life returns, the stones feel older beneath each step. Londoners sense this instinctively. They do not hurry. Houses hold their breath. Homes reopen gradually. Windows stay open longer. Curtains move with the air. Rooms fill again with light. But houses have learned caution. They hold memories in their walls. Rooms feel different when fewer people occupy them. Chairs sit unused. London does not rush to fill these spaces. Absence is allowed to remain. Conversations change, shape. When people speak now, their voices carry a new tone, less certainty, less noise. Conversations circle carefully around what is past. Some speak of loss directly, others avoid it entirely. Both ways are accepted. London understands that memory takes many forms. Work returns slowly, work resumes, but not fully. Shops reopen with shorter hours. Craftsmen return to benches that feel unfamiliar beneath their hands. Merchants check ledgers slowly, counting what remains, rather than what might come. There is no rush for profit. Survival has redefined success. London works carefully now, aware that effort itself is a gift. Markets carry quiet respect. Markets return as places of exchange, but also of recognition. People meet eyes briefly. They nod. They say little. The presence of others feels significant. London has learned how fragile gathering can be. Every shared space feels earned. The city carries its dead. London does not build monuments immediately. It does not mark every loss. Instead, it carries memory quietly, in the way people pause near certain doors, in the way names are spoken more gently, in the way laughter stops suddenly and then resumes softer. Grief becomes part of the city's rhythm. Faith without answers. Churches fill again, but not with certainty. Prayers are offered without expectation. Questions are allowed to remain unanswered. London's faith has changed. It no longer demands explanation. It allows silence. Children return carefully. Children return to streets, but differently. They play closer to home. They stop more often. They look back toward doors and windows. Their laughter returns in fragments. London listens closely. The city understands that children remember more than they show. The river reflects memory. The Thames moves steadily once more. Boats increase in number. Cargo returns. But the river feels reflective. Its surface mirrors a city, altered by survival. London walks its banks often now, finding comfort in movement that never stopped. The city does not declare victory. There are no announcements, no proclamations that the danger has passed. London has learned restraint. It knows that survival does not require celebration. It requires awareness. A shared weariness. What London feels most now is weariness. Not despair, not fear. Weariness. A tiredness that comes from holding oneself together for too long. The city moves gently because it must. Memory as foundation. As days pass, memory settles deeper. London begins to understand that what has happened will shape what comes next. Buildings may be repaired, markets restored, trade resumed. But the city itself has learned something permanent. That life can vanish quietly, that survival is fragile, that community matters more than structure. A city preparing without knowing. Without realizing it fully, London begins to prepare, not for disaster, not for danger, for rebuilding. The city does not know that fire waits just ahead in history, but it feels the need to strengthen, to clear, to plan. Memory sharpens instinct. The weight of calm settles over London again. Not the calm of ignorance, the calm of experience. The city has survived something invisible and intimate. That knowledge does not fade. Hold this image softly now. A city walking again, but slower. Windows open, but cautious. Markets alive, but respectful. A river moving beside memory. London does not forget the plague. It carries it forward quietly, shaping what will rise next. Breathe slowly now. Let the city rest.
Rest now, my friend. Tonight, we watched London breathe again beneath the restored crown, only to fall into the deep silence of the Great Plague. We walked through empty markets, sealed houses, quiet rooms, and streets where bells carried the weight of loss, yet the city endured. Slowly, cooler air returned, doors reopened, children stepped outside, and the Thames began to move with life once more. London survived, but it did not forget. Memory now lives within its walls and stones. In our next journey, the city will feel full again, unaware that another disaster is waiting in the darkness.